Hello and welcome to SuperConnectivity. I'm your host, the aesthetic Charlie Esser, and with me, as always, is...
the photonic Phil Parrott.
Photonic Phil Pierce. All life is photonic. Remember that, kids. Okay, welcome once again to SuperConnectivity, where we are going to talk about just about all there is to talk about in the Marvel Universe, from MCU down to Comic U, and from the 616 to the 616 to the 1611. It's 616 and 616 is the exact same universe. Ooh, didn't even realize that. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Daredevil, because I am nearly done with it, and I am shocked by how good it is. I mean, I'll be honest with you, on one hand, it's like this, and then because as an old timer who grew up on the old television format where you would have to wait a week for a show and you'd watch it then, and this idea that I can just sit there like Augustus Gloop and binge on this stuff and just drink it like a chocolate river is at once wonderful and disturbing, because, as I said, I started episode 13 today. I got to right at the beginning, and then I had to stop to do this. And it's like, what am I going to do next? Because, we know something's going to happen. We know we're going to have dramatic reveals, and I got to assume it's going to leave stuff open for next season. But I am at a loss at how amazing and wonderful and exciting the show is. And now I don't know what to do with my time now that I binged through this entire thing. I know it's taking you a little longer, Phil. Is that because you don't like it as much, or is it just because you have more self-control than me?
It's just a lack of time. If I had the time, I probably would have binged through the whole thing in a day or two.
Yeah.
I am up to episode. I did get through episode 9.
Yes. So I forget what that one's called, but I know the next one is Nelson versus Murdoch, which is a good episode. But let's talk about what has happened up to episode 9. So spoilers for everything up to episode 9. And one thing I actually really want to touch on is Stick. But what did you think of Stick, Phil?
I thought he's a pretty good character. I thought he was pretty. I don't want to say he was pretty spot on with the comic book character.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's one of these weird things where the actor is really fantastic on it. The actor is really wonderful, and it's hard to fault him for it. But it doesn't, And granted, because I actually have been researching this, there is nothing that actually says there's nothing that actually says that Stick was Asian. Mm-hmm. In fact, when I was going through the Marvel wiki, it actually says his eyes were blue. I don't know if that just means they were blue because they've got that milky white stuff on it, or they were blue because he actually is a white guy. But there's nothing that really says that Stick is Asian. I was looking, it's like, is there something that says like he grew up in Madripoor or anything like that? No. So on that level, yes, having him be a white guy and fantastically acted by a white guy is not necessarily non-canonical. Although I do feel it gets into this idea of what they call on television tropes, the mighty whitey. The white guy who's better at the thing than other people, and it's bothersome to me, especially given that there are no Asian heroes on this. And, Stick was one place where and granted, he's kind of a jerk throughout it, but, when all of the villains are not all of the villains, but you have this, shadowy, inscrutable Asian villain matrix going on. It is problematic for me that one spot where they did have for an actor who they could have put an Asian actor in and had, an at least somewhat positive, though still obviously inscrutable and all that kind of stuff, and cold character, they went to put in a white guy. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
know.
It's just this, this question of, okay, you have a lot of you have a lot of very negative Asians, and although you did not have to make Stick Asian, and even if you did, obviously, and I guess what they might say is, well, we did make Stick Asian, then we're going into the magical other category, where he's magical because he's Asian, and I can get that, but it just I guess it just really kind of. It bothers me, but again, like I said, because he's so good at it, it's hard to be too bothered by it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've always played it vague, I think. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows his background or anything.
Yeah, and that's essentially it, I guess. And and who knows, he could have some. Well, I mean, the actor doesn't have any Asian in his background, as nearly as I can tell. But because I thought, well, maybe it's like a Skye thing where she is actually Asian, but doesn't, but reads ambiguous, and I get that. So, but aside from that, and like I said, aside from the non-controversy, because as I said, the guy was good enough that I don't really see anyone complaining about it, which is surprising for the internet and comic books. It's like, wow, how good is this guy that no one's even complaining about it? Reminds me of when Hitch took over Fantastic Four and did a lot of crazy stuff, but everyone was like, no, we're down with it. We're going to follow this. This is good. And I was like, wow, this is so not the comic book internet world that I am familiar with. No. Actually, people are trying new things, and people are saying, yes, I like this idea. New things. Let's try that. Let's do something different than what we've done for 60 years. So good. So good on Stick, and good on the actor playing him. Although, if he had been bad at this would have been an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And aside from that, it's very good. I know that in SuperConnectivity, when they were talking about Daredevil a bit, they were talking about, possibility of Kunlun. And, of course, we had, as you saw in Stick, we had the character of, what was he called? The Night Skye, they called him.
Oh, the Black Skye?
The Black Skye, yes. The little boy, the powered individual. Yes. We never got to see do his power. I was waiting for him to go all Last of the Airbenders on someone there, and nope. It really kind of makes it look like, did Stick just kill a little kid?
He claims he did.
Yeah, he claims he did. One assumes he did. I don't think Stick would have just said that just to get a rise out of Matt Murdock unless he actually did.
Well,
he doesn't want Matt. Well, no, because actually then, okay. Yeah, he says he did, so.
Yeah, but wouldn't Matt know if he was lying?
Yes, Matt. Well, that's an interesting thing, because Stick taught him how to do that, theoretically, so.
Sure.
So maybe Stick knows how to fudge it, how to control his own heartbeat. They're all meditating, Yeah, so it was. It's a great series, and I can't wait to see how it ties into the larger MCU, because I really think they are doing a lot. They're going to do a lot more connections in the MCU coming up, and to that extent, they did mention that Ant-Man. And, is not standalone. It is not meant to be standalone. That it actually ties directly between what happens in Avengers and what happens in Civil War. And I think it has to do with this idea of the explosion of powers coming up. And, I do think that we are going to be getting, that's the thing, is, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was this idea that there was some cargo too dangerous on the ship to let Hydra have. And what could that be? And what I'm thinking it is maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. had found and had been stockpiling all of the other diviners. And that all of these other diviners are being held, and maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. has figured out this idea that, yes, that, in their deep science department, they found out that, yes, some people have this thing that when exposed to these crystals will develop superhuman abilities. And, and I do wonder if this is going to be part of something that happens either in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or in Age of Ultron, where they're going to come back to this idea of the diviners and these crystals, and they're going to, set off the big gas cloud that covers the Earth and awakens a bunch of Inhumans. It's interesting to me because when we're watching this, when we watched Afterlife, I believe it was, and well, actually no, it was also in Melinda as well. We were talking about finding the right person to get it, and what I think you might find is, how might this all play out? And they're talking about how Skye, got the powers in this old school way and sort of jumped the line. And it reminded me of this idea from Deep Space Nine. Well, there was this thing in Deep Space Nine where there are these, you have these little symbiote creatures that merge with this one group of aliens. And so if you merge with it, you essentially get to live forever because your mind becomes part of that alien or becomes part of the symbiote, and the symbiote goes into the next body and the next body and the next body for all eternity, or for thousands of years at least. And that's, and what it is that only the elite got to be selected to have this. But what they reveal in that is that actually, most of the population of the planet could have actually gotten symbiotes added to them, and they could have had this power too. And I think what's going to happen is, when people realize that Skye got her powers, there's going to be a rebellion in that afterlife. That all these people who have been told, "Oh no, you're not ready, you can't have the power," they're going to want to get the power, and I think that's going to lead to them seeking out the diviners that the shield is stockpiled, and possibly triggering that Terrigenis event that's going to release their powers. Because the fact of the matter is, it wasn't that the little girl didn't have powers; it's that people felt that she shouldn't have the powers, but the powers were hers. They were built as weapons. I think the Kree would have been quite happy with that weapon. That's a good weapon. I like that. You take over people's minds and you make them kill each other. Good power. Good power.
Except that you're over mad.
Yes. Well, don't all powers drive people mad eventually? I don't know. Look at that bomb throwing lunatic Reed Richards. So full of hubris. No, but that's the idea. Is that I think that these Inhumans who have not been given the powers are going to look at these people who see themselves as the elite, who see themselves as we are the ones who get to decide who gets powers and who does not, and perhaps even seeing that I see that the beautiful people get the powers, and those of us who maybe won't come out as beautiful don't get the powers, or something like that, or something. Or whatever it is, whatever the lines that are being drawn. Because, let's face it, as they say, Reyna was a street urchin when Cal found her. So clearly, they could be looking harder for people, and there may be that they find people that they deem are not worthy of the powers, and they don't bring them in, and that could also be like part of this entire controversy why Cal is locked up, because maybe Cal found their index and found who they knew had powers but weren't going to bring them in because they felt for whatever reason they weren't deserving of what the gift that Reyna would have gotten is, and that's that's the thing, and I don't think these Inhumans are going to be the Atlan Inhumans. They seem much more along the lines of other groups of Inhumans that were living on Earth that we've seen, the smaller pockets where they're much more restrictive in who gets the powers, whereas the Atlanians were everyone seemed to get the powers upon a certain point in their life, and they were just their own inhuman culture.
So you think we're going to get different factions?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was definitely going to be different factions. I mean, that just goes, and I think part of that's going to be the explosion of the basically the rebellion of these Inhumans from the Afterlife group, who are going to say, we will not allow you to dictate, that we will not allow you to judge us as unworthy for our birthright. And once that happens, I think that's what's going to lead into the coming of the proper Atlantean Inhumans, who now have to go and gather together all of their people to bring order to it. And of course, those that don't want to bring that order to it are going to fight them as well. So, it's an interesting question how it's all going to break down. But I'm very excited about that, and I found it interesting that Cal apparently put Skye's mom back together. So apparently, after she was dead, he stitched her back together, and I guess maybe at some point they were together, and then they broke up. Obviously, because and then and now I guess they're back together at least partially. So that's nice. Nice, happy family. That won't.
They had family dinner.
Yeah, they had family dinner. They had champagne and daisies, and it was lovely. And little Frankenstein mom and Mr. Hyde dad and little quaky Skye. Yeah, where it goes next is going to be interesting, and a lot of people didn't like the Melinda storyline, or like how she became the Cavalry, and realizing that she didn't kill all those people, and they thought that was a letdown. And I actually thought that was the whole point. That's why she doesn't like being called the Cavalry, because she knows, and it was probably all classified, so she couldn't tell people what really happened. She couldn't say, I didn't do anything. But everyone's like, oh, you're the Cavalry, you saved everyone. It's like, no, I shot a little girl, and that's all I did. It was not a big fight. It was not this big heroic event. And, her rejection of the narrative makes sense that way. Because if she had just, gone through heck and back, sure, it would have been more exciting for the viewers, but it wouldn't have given you the emotional depth of the character. And the emotional depth of the character, and why the character doesn't like that name, is because she does not. It emphasizes how much people don't understand about what she went through. And I
think the problem a lot of people had, like they were talking about on Enough Said, was just they've been building this up for at least a year and a half. This is so horrible. It's so disturbing. You can't even imagine what happened.
Yeah. Well, but what it is about it is it is disturbing, just not in the way that you thought. That's the thing, is that it was, and what everyone was giving was, and actually when they first start telling the story of the Cavalry, not the Cavalry, by the way, but the Cavalry. Ming Yuan made a big thing on Twitter about that. He says she hates it when you call her the Cavalry. She hates it even more when you call her the Calvary. But the whole thing is when you first get the stories of the Cavalry, it's actually intentionally being a telephoned game of an overtold story by Fitz and Simmons to sort of tweak Skye, and then and then you get the rest of it. It's more toned down, but it's still the myth. It's still the myth that had the official cover story of what happened, not the reality of what happened. And I think a lot of the reason why May was down on it was because, of course, she could not tell. She could, and probably if they'd put that caveat in there where they said, you can't tell anyone what really happened here, that might have been basically spelled it out more for the people watching. But I got that was what the problem was. Not only that she was dealing with this incredibly difficult, painful situation, but that she had to be alone in it, and that she couldn't. She had a psychiatrist husband that she couldn't even talk to about this because it's classified. We're not, and even though he knows about powered people, you can't go into exactly what happens on the mission. And, the fact that everyone had been mind controlled, and I thought it was powerful and moving, and I think it conveyed why she is the way she is very well. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of her become who she used to be again, as well as seeing who she's become is affecting her life. So yeah, I thought it was a very good episode, Melinda. I'm looking forward to next one where I think we get the return of Ward.
That's what they've been setting up, it looks like.
Yeah. Well, because Ward and Madam Hydra or Madam Mask. I still think it's Madam Hydra, but you never know. It could be a completely different thing. Maybe they're going to form the Magia. I don't know. Maybe they'll wind up on Daredevil. That would be neat.
That'd be cool.
Anything can happen.
But from the previews, did it look like they were like, you have to watch the next episode before you see Avengers: Age of Ultron?
Yeah, well, they do say it does tie in. So, and whether or not that's going to be a big tie-in or a small tie-in, next episode comes out before Age of Ultron. So I think it's going to be, maybe they're just going to be referencing Strucker, and they're going to say, oh, Strucker's got things, and Strucker, maybe they'll let that Strucker had the gem or something, and it'll be interesting what they say. But yeah, I mean, definitely. Well, they've said it does tie in, at least partially, and that this might be where we get the Mockingbird Hawkeye meetup that we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
Hawkingbird. There we go. We'll ship them right now. I'm shipping Hawkingbird. There we go. Yes, but so that would be nice. So I got to feel that we're going to get a Jeremy Renner cameo in here at some point. Although that was actually something interesting I was thinking about with the Netflix series, and how in the Netflix series they actually had the potential to get much bigger stars, I think, than even for a TV series. Because since they're shooting it all continuously, you could probably edit the entire Daredevil series into a 2-hour Wilson Fisk movie. You could probably edit it into a Karen Page movie or even a Foggy Nelson movie. That every actor you get to be on it is going to be on stage and in a character enough that it's really their own movie. And then they're just cutting the movies up to make one continuous story of everyone in that universe. But really, between the 13 episodes, you've got, for each character has their own movie and story arc. And when you get to what's going on with Fisk, it is really, honestly, D'Onofrio's story arc in this is just really fantastic. And you understand completely why he took this job,
I saw his origin.
I'm sorry?
I saw his origin.
Oh, with his dad? With
his father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting thing to ask if that's his origin or if, certainly he does kill his father and kills his father in defense of his mother in a very noble way, In that sense, he sees how violence and death is actually how you can protect people. And that does inform him becoming the Kingpin, does inform him saying, that the world is full of violent and awful people. And the only way to protect people is to be more violent and awful than them. And like I said, I think you could very easily edit the series into a Wilson Fisk story, of just a really powerful story of Wilson Fisk as this man in the shadows who's forced to come out and, make his way in the world. It's a very good series. And like I said, I'm on the last episode. Can't wait to see what happens at the end. Well, I know one thing that I can guess what we're going to see at the end because we know I don't want to spoil about where things happen. So, but yes, in the next 4 episodes, there's some stuff that very cool, and I really can't wait to see how it all plays out.
So we don't get any more answers on what Black Skye is, like what the kid can do.
If you want me to spoil it for you, no, we don't.
Okay.
And along those lines, yes, Stick did kill Black Skye because Nobu comes back and says we lost a very valuable asset, in that the Black Skye was taken from him.
Oh yeah, I saw that part.
Yeah, oh, okay. So then you do know that Stick killed. Yeah, I thought you. Oh yeah. So actually, you saw Nobu's death too. When
yes.
Yeah, and what a way to go, man! But
let him burn.
Well, yeah, for what it's worth, it's now. Here's what I wonder, because and this may not be in next. This hasn't been revealed yet from where I've gotten. But we know that Leland Owlsey, that in the comics, that character is the Owl. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if he is going to come out as the Owl somewhere in this to make himself sort of the head of it. Or they've mentioned that he has a son repeatedly. And if maybe we'll get his son coming in to be the Owl. And
yeah, because I think at one point he said he was talking to his son, Lee.
Yeah.
So maybe the son is also named Leland Owlsey?
That's what I'm thinking. And I just want to see someone come up with the claws popping out from under his coat, Wolverine style. Because the Owl had those before Wolverine, man. Wolverine stole those from the Owl.
Yeah, because I don't know if we're going to see him as the Owl. Because what did he say? Was he say he was like 73
years old? Yeah, he's an old guy. Yeah. Maybe the Vulture, but not the Owl. Yes. Yes, but I would definitely like to see. I would love to see the Owl come into this as a character, and as you know, and the Owl is semi-powered. He has the ability to float.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be very interesting to see the Owl in this, as well as we move towards these mystical elements and whatnot
and Defenders.
The Defenders, and who knows, maybe we'll get Shang-Chi in there as an Asian good guy yet. So, yes. So that's Daredevil. Looking forward to seeing some more stuff with Hank Pym. I think Hank Pym is going to feature into some of this stuff pretty soon too. And let's get into Jessica Jones. Let's get through Jessica Jones so we can get to Power Man.
When's Jessica Jones? Isn't it?
It's the next one. I think it's the next one. It goes. It's supposed to go. It goes Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and then do they do Iron Fist or are they just going straight into Defenders? I don't know.
I thought I heard an Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But is Jessica Jones the fall?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when. I haven't even seen too many clips from that yet, so I think right now
we got a couple months.
The thing. I'm hoping we get some kind of hint to Jessica Jones at least in the end of Daredevil, so that you get sort of like, oh, okay, that's where we're going next.
Yeah, I can't remember when they said, but I'm pretty sure it's after Age of Ultron and Ant-Man.
Okay, well that's fine. Then that's what I'll do. Till I can binge watch that. Okay. Yes, so very good series. Definitely watch it if you're not watching it yet, along with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then get ready for the MCU, because that's going to come back with the cinematic universe is going to come back with a force, and who knows, maybe we'll get Grizzly in the Ant-Man movie. That's probably the hope for, but man, those two, they're just great. I think we can all agree to that. And let's get ready for the Beyonders. I think
Secret Wars needs to get here already.
Secret Wars on Netflix, man. That's what we're waiting for. Yeah, no, I guarantee you, man. After the Infinity Gauntlet, that's the next one. Is the Secret Wars.
I think that would be big screen.
Yes. Okay. So I think we've connected everything we're going to connect this week, and we will connect more next week. We'll happily connect with you. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can connect with us you can connect with me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com or on Twitter at @CharlieEsser. Phil, how can they connect with you?
You can email me at nightwingpdp@gmail.com or on Twitter. I'm at nightwingpdp.
And of course, you can like us on Facebook at Facebook/SuperConnectivity Podcast. Correct?
Yes, that's right.
Superconnectivity Podcast. Like us and follow us and do all that stuff you do, because we like connecting with you and we hope you like connecting with us. And we'll see you on Battle World.